my dear friends, welcome to my YouTube channel, that is Learning and Programming with Jay. Friends, in this particular video, we will going to discuss about object class and its various methods in Java programming language. And before starting a tutorial, let me first tell you that this is one of the important topic for Java programmers. Now let us start our tutorial. So if we talk about object class, then it is a class which is present inside java.lang package. And friends, I would like to inform you that every class in Java directly or indirectly derived from our object class. What I means to say here is that object class is a super class of all the classes. So here you can see that our B class is not having any parent class and it is directly derived from our object class. And if we talk about class C and D, then these two classes are having their parent class as A, and A class is directly derived from our object class. So class C and class D is indirectly derived from our object class. In other words, we can say that object class is a parent class of all the classes in Java programming language. Now let us discuss about the uses of object class. So our object class is used to define common properties and behaviors of an object. Let us first discuss about the common properties of an object. So our object should be comparable to other objects. So to fulfill this need, we are having equals method inside our object class. And our object should be converted into string. So to convert an object into a string, we are having toString method inside our object class. And suppose we are having a requirement that at runtime we need a type of an object or we want to know a class of an object, then in that case we can use a getClass method which is present inside our object class. And friends, we should be able to create, copy and destroy our object. So for creation of an object, we are having constructor inside our object class. And when we have to copy an object, then in that case we can use clone method. And for destroying any object, can use finalize method which is present inside our object class. And friends, when we need hash code of an object, which is a unique integer number for representing an object in a memory, so to fulfill this requirement, we are having hash code method which is present inside our object class. And friends, our object should be able to perform multi-threading, synchronization and locking. So to fulfill this requirement, we are having notify and wait method inside our object class. So friends, these are some of the common properties of an object. And to provide the solution of all these requirements, we are having object class in Java programming language. Now let us discuss about the next use of object class. So we can use object class to refer an object whose return type is unknown at runtime. Let us try to understand this use by the help of a program. So friends, I have created one class with the name object class tutorial, and inside our class I have created one main method, and here I have created a static method with the name check object type, and this method is having one parameter with the name input, and here you can see that our input parameter is of type object. And friends, inside our main method, in this statement, I am passing an integer value to our method, and here I am passing a long value, and in this statement I am passing a float value, and here I am passing a string value, and in this statement you can see that I am passing a double value. So friends, at runtime, when we don't know about the return type of an object which we are passing to our methods, then in that case we can use our object class. And friends, inside our method, I am comparing our input object with different types, that is integer, float, long or string. And for comparing our input object with a specified type, I am using instance of operator. So we can use instance of operator when we have to compare our input with a specified type. So in this statement, our instance of operator will check whether our input is an instance of integer class. And here it will check whether our input is an instance of float class, long or double. And friends, if we will pass an object of some other type which will not satisfy these conditions, then our flow will go inside our else part. And here you can see that I am using a getClass method of an object class to get the return type of an object. Now let us run our program. So friends, here you can see that we are getting an output in our console, and here in this statement I have passed an integer value. That is why our flow is going inside this condition, and here we are getting an output as 1 is of integer type. Similarly, here I am passing a long value, that is why we are getting this output in our console. And friends, in this statement you can see that when I have passed and double value, then our input value is not satisfying these conditions and our flow is going inside our else part. That is why we are getting this output in our console as 6.2 is of java.lang.double type. I hope that you are able to understand about the uses of object class in Java programming language. Now let us discuss about various methods which is present inside our object class. Here I will briefly explain you about various methods which is present inside our object class, and I will create a separate tutorials to explain you about all these methods in detail. So there are total 11 methods which is present inside our object class. So let us first discuss about class and string method which is present inside our object class. So when we need a class object of our current object, then in that case we can use a getClass method which is present inside our object class. And our getClass method is returning an object of class, and this getClass method is final in nature, which means that we cannot override this method. And friends, we can use our getClass method to get the metadata which is defined inside our class. Suppose I have created a class with the name object class tutorial, and inside my class I have created various methods as well as I have created some properties. So the name of the class and the various properties which we have defined inside our class and various methods which we have defined inside our class, all these are metadata of a class. So to get the details of the metadata of a class, we can use this getClass method which is present inside our object class. Now let us discuss about our next method. So friends, when we are having a requirement that we need an string representation of an object, then in that case we can use toString method, and this method is by default public and it is returning an object of string type. And friends, as this method is not final, so we can also override this method inside our child classes. Now let us discuss about our hashing method. So friends, as we all know that hash code is a unique integer number that is used to uniquely represent an object in a memory. So in Java, every object is having a unique hash code, and to get that unique value of an hash code, we are having this hash code method which is defined inside our object class, and this method is returning an value of integer type. Now let us discuss about our next method which is used for object comparison and cloning. So for comparing an object, we are having equals method, and this equal method is accepting one parameter which is of object type, and it is returning a value of boolean type. So friends, this hash code and equals method are very important methods because these are used to implement hashing in Java programming language, and we can also override this hash code method and equals method inside our child class as per our requirement. And when we need an exact copy of an object, then in that case we can use a clone method which is present inside our object class. So this is the signature of our clone method, and this method is returning a value of object type, and this clone method is by default protected. And here you can see that our clone method is throwing an exception with the name clone not supported exception. So friends, when we have to create a copy of an object, then our object class must support cloning concept. Now let us discuss about our garbage collection finalization method. So to fulfill this requirement, we are having finalize method inside our object class, and this is the signature of our finalize method, that is protected void finalize, and it is throwing throwable class. So friends, before destroying any object in Java programming language, garbage collector calls and finalize method which is present inside our object class to perform cleanup activities. Now let us discuss about our notify and waiting methods, and these are the methods which is used in multi-threading synchronization and locking concept in Java programming language. So for notifying an object, we are having two methods with the name notify and notify all, and these methods are by default final so that we cannot override these two methods. So we can call a notify method to wake up a single thread which is waiting to acquire an object monitor, and when we have to wake up all the threads which are waiting to acquire lock on an object, then in that case we can use notify all method. And friends, there are total 3 methods which is present inside our object class with the name wait, and these 3 methods are implemented by using method overloading concept. So here you can see that this is the wait method with no parameter, and this wait method is accepting one parameter with the name timeout. And we are having one more wait method inside our object class which is accepting 2 parameters, that is timeout, and nanos. And all these methods are by default public and final, which means that we cannot override this wait method. And here you can notice that all these three methods is throwing an interrupted exception. And friends, when we will call this wait method with no parameter, then it will cause the current thread to wait until another thread notifies. Suppose I am having one thread which is currently in running state, and when I will call the wait method on a running thread, then in that case a running thread will stop its execution and it will move into non-runnable state or blocked state. And when we will call our notify or notify all method, then in that case our thread which is currently in blocking state or non-runnable state will move into runnable state. So these notifying methods and waiting methods is used to implement multi-threading concept in Java programming language. And suppose we want our current thread to wait for a specified amount of time, then in that case we can call our wait method with timeout parameter. And when we want our current thread to wait for a specified amount of millisecond and nanosecond, then in that case we can call our wait method with two parameters. So friends, these are the 11 methods which is present inside our object class. And if you are having any doubts related to object class and its methods in Java programming language, then you can ask me your queries in comment section.